Shall we play a game?
Let's play Global Thermonuclear War.
On February 8th of this year, historic crossroads, it was an historic crossroad, just 72 hours ago, the last remaining guardrail of the nuclear age, the New START Treaty. I remember this when you were a kid. Remember this when you were a kid?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember them talking about it and everything. On how, in other words, what this is all about is Russia and the United States was going to stop making nuclear weapons. They were going to halt. We had so many. They had so many. How many do you really need? And they started a treaty that would stop the production of nuclear weapons on both sides, Russia and the U.S.
You got over 1,500.
Well, it expired on February 8th,
Yeah.
leaving the world's two largest nuclear arsenals without any legal limits for the first time in over 50 years.
I remember as a young kid, too. Remember doing all the air raid drills
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and hiding under the
Yeah,
desk?
in Brooklawn Middle School.
Brooklawn Middle School,
Remember
yeah.
Brooklawn,
Yeah.
7th grade, 8th grade, I think it was.
You hide under a desk,
You
so when
hide
a
under a
nuclear
desk,
thing
yep.
came, it would go like this.
Yep.
And go right over you. The desk would definitely protect you.
Yep.
Hiding in the desk.
But yeah, I mean, now this.
It's not a game. It's not a game.
It's not a game, and,
yeah.
and I don't know whose fault it is or who's talking about it or what, but it wasn't renewed. So what do we got to do? Build more nuclear missiles and bombs? I mean,
You know, how many you need to destroy the world?
right.
I mean, it's crazy. And they said something.
And then, but wait a minute. What about China in there? Is China, if they do bring this back,
they're a nuclear power,
I would
too.
think China's got to be involved, and possibly India's got to be involved, and Pakistan.
Yeah. Yeah, they would
I
have
mean-
to limit their
Yeah.
nukes.
Yeah, because back then it was just basically us and Russia.
Right. Now, I don't know. I should look that up. How many countries are nuke,
Well, I
nukes
think,
right
and
now.
I think France might be, and England possibly. I don't know.
So I guess it was a last-minute proposal from Putin to extend the limits for 1 year. Oh, okay. So Trump allowed the treaty to expire.
So it's really Trump's fault.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, come on. We know it's his fault.
Oh yeah, it's always his fault.
And it's interesting you said that because it said he wants better monetization and agreement that includes China.
Yeah. Well, it's got to. You gotta put China in there.
Yeah. So the doomsday clock, scientists have moved the doomsday clock to 85 seconds to midnight.
What does that mean?
Well, if you take an hour, I think this is what it means. If you take an hour, midnight, if you take 1 day, right?
24
I
hours.
think is it 24? It might be just 1 hour. So if you take 1 hour, we're 85 seconds from a nuclear war. Right? So it says here they get 85 seconds to midnight. So that's a minute and a half or whatever it might be. The closest it's ever been to a global catastrophe is what they're saying.
Oh.
They cite not
Are you
just the treaty
saying if
could
we
collapse.
launch a missile, it'll take 85 seconds
No,
to get over to Russia?
No, what it means is it's a doomsday clock saying that we're almost at DEFCON 4 or DEFCON 5. We're close to a nuclear, right?
Oh, I
So
see.
midnight is a nuclear disaster.
Okay.
What did they say?
85 seconds.
We're 85
before that.
seconds to midnight,
Right.
right? So you got all that time before that we were in the safe zone. Now it's
Right.
getting closer and
Now it's
closer,
getting closer.
right?
Oh.
Like they talk about men and, people on Earth.
Right.
Since Earth started. We're the last 5 seconds of the whole calendar month or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up against now. And we brought this up because we're talking about Iran. They're trying to get another treaty with them, make sure that they're not going to build nukes. The bottom line is we can't have them have nukes
Right.
because who knows what they're going to do. They'll be the first ones. to
Now,
push
I'm
it.
going to play the left side here, or people that are. Why? We can have nukes. Russia's got nukes.
Well,
China's got nukes. Is it because Iran, we think that they're not a stable country and they think that they're gonna use them?
well, they always said that to America, right?
And
They're a
that to
big
Israel,
threat.
too.
They're
Yeah.
a big threat. So who's going to hit the
that's it.
button, Russia or them?
Yeah.
I mean, so that makes it very scary.
Is that the Muscat negotiations simultaneously in Oman today? Is that? Am I pronouncing that right? Oman, Oman,
Amman.
Amman today.
Yeah.
Indirect. Don't get old. Indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran are hanging by a thread.
Right.
Iran's foreign minister Abbas Arch Ramadan Ding Dong
Close enough.
stated today that Tehran will never accept zero enrichment on its own soils.
Right. So you have to enrich uranium to make nukes, but they also use it for nuclear plants and
Right.
power and different things.
Right.
They're claiming that that's what they need to do.
Okay.
Now, can we stop again? They talk about weapons of mass destruction. Remember back in Iran?
Yeah. No,
I mean, Iraq. And there was no weapons of mass destruction because we had inspectors there.
Right.
But these countries are the ones, and believe me, all the countries around them are happy if they don't have nukes either because they're a closer target than we are.
Well, that was the same thing with Saddam Hussein. A lot of the countries didn't care for him, and we took him out. I don't know.
And China right now, and that's why they want to make it part of this treaty again, or this limitation, I should say, because they're building more. They're building their arsenal up. They could reach 1,000
warheads by 2030.
And all they need is a rocket to carry it over and hit us.
Yep.
And that doesn't take much these days, So it's pretty scary when you think about it. And, as a kid, during the Cold War, remember Cuba, the Cuban Missile Crisis? That's where Russia was putting missiles in Cuba.
That's right.
To target us. And Kennedy.
That's why I was born in Puerto Rico, and we left in '62 because my mom was really basically scared. She didn't want to. She didn't want to be in Puerto Rico when all that was going on. '61 and '62. So I was only 2 years old, 3 years old, and we left Puerto Rico to come back to the States, mainly because of that. What was going on?
Yeah, and they said if they don't fix this, we're going to be in another nuclear arms race.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason we're going back to the moon is because, see, back in 1960s, when Kennedy said we got to go to the moon and back,
Right.
China was trying to get to the moon before us. So was Russia. So we had a reason to go there.
Right.
After those were all done, nobody was going back to the moon.
No. Yeah.
But now they are. China is racing us to the moon, and Russia's thinking about it
Didn't
too.
Elon Musk just launch a rocket that's going around the moon?
No.
Coming back, or somebody did?
Didn't go off. That was NASA, and it didn't go off. It's not going off till March now. It was delayed.
Oh, okay.
So, and it might be delayed again. But there's only certain times it can launch because the
Right.
moon's in the right orbit and that kind of stuff. But what they're going to do is launch, and they're going to loop around and come back. So, but it's a big deal. But they put a warhead on some rocket that comes over Greenland. And this is why we want Greenland.
Yeah.
To help, give us a shot to shoot this stuff down.
Is that called the zero limit reality?
Well, again, that's the first time since the 1970s what they said. It was a law that stopped U.S. and Russia from building too many. And it's just gonna continue if we don't get this signed again. So I hope Trump steps forward and Putin and Trump, because look, we are the two biggest powers, right?
no
So
doubt
if
about
one country decides to bomb either one of us, we'll have to do them. But by then there'll be nothing left. I got to say,
Remember those? What was that movie? War Games. The kid was
Oh.
playing the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
war games.
Yeah.
Do you want to play a game?
Game.
Thermonuclear destruction.
Destruction.
Wouldn't you rather play a game of chess? Yeah, great movie.
It was.
War Games.
I remember the head of the
Yeah,
armed forces.
Whomper.
Well, why can't you just pull the plug,
the plug on it, yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, Whomper, war or something.
Yeah.
something. So, yeah, I mean we're kind of laughing, but
It could happen.
this is something that nobody's talking about, and these warheads are getting built, and they're getting on top of rockets, and anybody's a threat. But these guys like Iran right now, they're scared. If they make one, they think it's nothing to lob one over at somebody, So who knows? But
Yeah, and you're talking about the AI threat. If a computer glitch thinks a bird is a missile,
right,
there are no longer human inspectors or hotlines required by treaty to stop the response, and our safety now in the hands of the algorithm.
algorithm, yeah.
Algorithm.
So Well, that's true. The part of the treaty was that men have to, and you see it in the
yeah.
movie. They got to both turn the key and the whole thing,
Right.
to make sure it's real. Because we
What's
don't.
it called? The football?
I don't know.
Yeah, the president's got the football.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called the football, I think.
You watch too many movies.